Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of In My Opinion. My name is John.
My name is Lester.
And before we go on with today's topic, let's disclaim a few things here. Okay?
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be talking about some rather triggering stuff, and that is with regards to the Kosh incident that happened recently. So it has something to do with sexual predation, minors, and sexual grooming, and basically the response that has been happening on the internet. Before we go on into that, we want to make it clear that, the two of us, we do not condone or support any of this predatory behavior, all these criminal activities that has been happening. Okay. And at the same time, also, I feel that there is value in discussing this in a intellectual and educational manner, and that's why we are doing this today. Anything we say here is all or less our opinion, and we highly encourage you to engage with us in the comments to let us know what you think about this matter. At the same time, if any of this is offensive to anyone, we just want to apologize if we slip up. Do let us know, and if it's at all possible, we would like to address it.
Yeah, and also in the description box below, I'm going to leave some resources that you can go to if you are a victim of sexual harassment. Doesn't have to be Kosh, it can be general in your life. We just want you to know that we are here for you, and you guys can go down to the description box and see where you can seek help, and hopefully that helps you. Or if you can,
we might not be the best. Yeah, we might not be the best people to give you advice, but we can point you in the right direction, and we're just sharing so that everyone can learn something, and we make a better society out of whatever has been going on.
Yeah.
And with that out of the way, let's get into it.
Yeah. Wow. Before we wrote the cameras, I was just we were just discussing about this topic, and this is such a heavy topic, and me just thinking about it already makes me extremely depressed and very, very sad. But I do think that it's a topic that is very important to talk about. And as John said, we're not really going to go into the whole sexual harassment part of the Kosh thing, because I think that's pretty straightforward. I think no one should be sexually harassed, and no one should sexually harass anyone, especially minors. But we do want to talk a little bit about the reaction that came after that, because that's something that no matter what situation, right, we can learn something from, and hopefully next time we'll be able to do better, and hopefully we can grow from this as well as a society. So I mean, what really sparked off this entire episode was actually Nathan Hartono's response to a certain fan. So for the people who are I always forget to do this. For people who are not very sure what the Kosh incident is, I'll leave a link down below as well. You can catch up, and I'll also leave all the resources that I have dug up in the links below, so you can go and form your own opinion. Don't have to listen to us, because what do we know, right? So going into that, we're going to talk a little bit about Nathan Hartono. So basically what happened was someone actually commented on Nathan Hartono's post, basically saying because Nathan Hartono was silent for a while after the allegations, correct? So he basically said, you stand with Kosh, not surprised you have zero spine, or something to that effect. That really triggered Nathan Hartono. So Nathan Hartono replied something along the lines of I choose to withhold any opinion until I understand the full story. Stories have two sides, and you know what else though, regardless of whether he's the right or wrong, or somewhere in between, I'm a friend of his. Have been for years, and last I checked, friends do not abandon each other when they are their weakest. And before you say, so you still support him? Should I personally feel like he's wrong after finding out the whole truth, I will be there with him on the path towards healing and improvement. Because that's what friends do for each other. You don't just drop your friends, and the moment it becomes inconvenient to have them, you do not just abandon them. And that you see this as an attribute of spinelessness speaks volumes about who you are, and I pity the ones you hold close, because the moment waters get rough, you are the first to abandon ship. And to which the friend replied, the commenter. The commenter replied, I will be there to help on the road. Wrong. The commenter replied something along the lines of, frankly, I just find it pathetic that you would protect predatory abusers just because they are your friends. Them, read the news or something. It's not there's no evidence, lol. You can fake ignorance all you want. And this really upset me. This
I can tell.
really pissed me the hell off.
Yeah.
I cannot take this out thing.
Mm.
First of all, I agree with Nathan Hartono. You know, the fact that I do think that it's very hard on him. I mean, having a friend overnight being accused for being a sexual predator, right? It's something that's a lot to take in. And maybe he has some biasness involved. But even then, right, I don't blame him. Because he's your friend, what? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, if one day John royally messes up, right? I'm not gonna like peace out. I never like John anyway. Like, fuck John. Who the hell is John? Then I just all right. That's not what do you expect? I don't understand. What do you expect from him? What do you expect this man to go like? Fuck you, Kosh. Never liked you in the first place. I should have known you're a sexual predator. All this work, like, just give the man some time to think. Give the man some time to be a person and a human being beyond everything else. And then like, I don't understand what's so wrong with what Nathan Hartono said with regards of like, hey, if he did something wrong, he should be punished, but I'll be there with him. And I feel like that's a mark of a true friend, right?
Yeah, but I think what this particular commenter and actually quite a number of angry people when angry on the internet have this sentiment that they share where they want condemnation. They don't want to see that these people are human. They want a dehumanizing reaction.
Yeah.
So if we put ourselves into a hypothetical thought experiment here, that if Nathan Hartono came out and straight away say that like, I'm so disappointed for being your friend, I'm not gonna friend you anymore, or like I'm gonna cut all ties from you, blah 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 blah. This person is gonna get Nathan Hartono is probably gonna get applause all around from these kind of angry people.
Yeah, he is. Which is sad, right? Like, isn't it so sad?
Yeah, because like I think that's a natural thing to do, especially when this particular person is accused of a heinous crime. You do not want to associate with people who are objectively bad, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the times you want to see some form of retribution happen to them, even from especially where it hurts and coming from someone who is a friend, right?
Yeah.
And then your friend is the one that abandons you, right? It's something that will definitely hurt. And I think that's where these angry people sometimes on the internet they want. But I agree with you that I think Nathan's response was very mature.
Yeah.
And was in some sense was very well handled, because what he did was that like he still stood by his friend even if he does not support. He mentioned right earlier he does not support regardless of whether the allegations were true, untrue, or somewhere in between.
Yeah, he just basically said like, and I'm here for Kosh lah.
Yeah, and I think that's a good attitude to have. And I mean, if Kosh you happen to be watching this, keep Nathan as a friend. But like, I applaud him because it's very difficult. In fact, right, especially with people throwing angry remarks at you, right, despite not being the perpetrator, it's very, 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 very difficult to still maintain your cool and keep your friendship that obviously at this point has no incentive, right?
Yeah.
So if we go by a very objective and mechanical kind of way of dealing with this, it's very clear cut that there's no incentive in keeping this friendship, right? So Nathan ought to have reacted that way. But I think this is where we should catch a glimpse of how these people, whether they are the predators or the friends or even the victims, right, are people as well.
Yeah.
I feel like people always forget the human aspect, the faces, the people who are behind this. They are so caught up with the fact that they are influencers or like they are YouTube personalities.
Yeah.
There's a good to fair chance. I'm willing to bet money on this. There's a good to fair chance that a lot of these angry people, right, that are shouting at the influencers for inaction, right, they probably don't even know the real names of the victims.
Which is just
they
crazy.
Don't know. Yeah, they don't know the circumstance of these victims. They don't know the details of these victims. And besides crying foul, right, a lot of them also take no concrete action to improve the situation for either the perpetrator or the victim.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just want to participate in this social media crossfire that is happening. And I
Mm.
guess that's the saddest part of this entire outcome.
Mm.
Because in a situation like this, especially when it comes to harassment, be it sexual or whatever kind, right?
Yeah.
There is someone who is suffering and there is someone who is on the way to suffering.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is that these two aspects are never ever properly addressed in a bid to serve justice.
Yeah. And I was talking to John before we wrote the camera as well, and I was saying something along the lines of like, in social media, I don't think social media's for anyone's fault, right? But in social media, let's say Twitter characters, you have 280 characters. And in social
Mm.
media, we are basically conditioned to want to have very quick news and very quick summary of things, which
Mm.
unfortunately extends towards people. So like you want to be able to put people into a box and like summarize that person very quickly into go like, okay, you messed up like that, or in Hartono's case, or you never condemn him, you're messed up. You got problem. That kind of thing. And people are so willing to have black and white in social media. And I think that's really, really just wrong. Lah. I think that in social media a lot of the nuance of human relationships is missing. And I'm not blaming anyone for that because it's very difficult. I mean, in social media, you want to type out things, you also don't really want to type out. And there are a lot of things that are like a bit harder to come across in social media. But
Mm.
I would like to think that we as a human species or society, right, is able to transcend it and transcend and understand that like, okay, I'm viewing this as too black and white, and we should like probably take a step back and before I say something, just think about it for a moment. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying that whatever people are saying are not valid, especially the victims. Like if you're a victim,
Yeah.
you want to say, I applaud you, like more power
Yeah.
to you. Thank you for saying and thank you for speaking up against people
Mm.
who have abused you lah. But I'm saying the people who are like, you're not contributing to the conversation productively by
Mm.
saying these things, like by harassing social media people to talk about Kosh, or like saying like, hey, why you never say anything, like you fucked up.
Yeah.
That kind. And I don't understand the need for immediate response also. Like why
Yeah.
can't you just give Nathan Hartono 2 weeks to form a response? Like, is it really that important that he
Urgent,
says,
right? Is it that
yeah,
urgent, right?
yeah, is it really that important that he says it within a day?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? There's no point in this. And I don't understand
Exactly.
why people are so uptight about it. I don't understand why people are
Mm.
so uptight about the whole you have to speak up and you have to say your statement because the whole like, oh yeah,
I think it all boils down to this very idealistic view
yeah,
of their own version of how a good internet place is supposed to be or how a good internet celebrity is supposed to respond.
mm-hmm.
And
Okay,
I think this is a very flawed kind of logic to apply to people, especially to our celebrities.
mm-hmm.
They are also people, they just happen to be celebrities. And I think that's the thing that's lost to people. The fact that they happen to be celebrities and that they are people first. And
Yeah,
like you mentioned, I think what you brought up was really important about how it's not productive to the conversation. If people truly cared, okay, if people on the internet truly care, and this is one of those things that makes me a little bit jaded about having this type of conversation sometimes,
yeah,
is if people truly cared on the internet, right, instead of making noise, go and start a GoFundMe or whatever that
helps these
directly
people.
contributes to the recovery of the victims. How about that? Or
Yeah, yeah,
go and properly rally the people to try
mm-hmm.
to help someone who is an actual criminal
Mm,
rehabilitate. How about that?
mm,
How about that? Instead of just trying to see justice served, instead of just being outraged, right? You got a lot of energy, right?
yeah,
You got a lot of extra uh, objectiveness because you're not a direct perpetrator or direct victim, right? Very good.
mm-hmm.
Why don't you channel that energy into something that
Mm,
actually works, that actually
mm,
does something?
mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
if you want to be loud on the internet, why not be loud with a charity donation? Why not be loud with hand holding the victims to a place that helps them recover. Why not be loud about that instead of harassing the people for not giving you the response that you want? Like what? Like I really don't understand. This is the one aspect that I don't understand. I get that people want justice. That is only human, right?
Yeah.
But how is a friend staying silent about another friend an act of spinelessness?
Yeah. If I think about it clearly and try to like remove any biases I have and like the fact that I'm obviously very outraged at this whole thing, I I guess in their opinion, it'll probably be like they view the social media influencers as gatekeepers. They are the ones that set the agenda for what society thinks about. Not necessarily how to think, but like what they want to think about. So if Nathan Hartono says something along the lines of like, hey, I do not condone sexual harassment, because whatever he did, hopefully it's not whatever I do not condone it, right? I think in their opinion that will be forwarding the cause, because that is getting everyone's mind towards this cause of sexual harassment and helping the victims. And I guess in that way, I can see why they would want someone like Nathan Hartono or someone of big importance like Ben King or Narelle King to talk about it. But I don't think you can use this as like a spineless thing. I don't think you can use this as a like, oh, I don't get why you cannot just say that he's fucked up, that kind. And I do believe in the whole, if you want to ask for something or if you want to fight for something, you have to be aware of how you do it. And I think not a lot of people are going to agree with me. People are going to think it's tone policing, etc. But I do think that there's a right way to do things, especially like in this case. Like, I mean, if the guy had just said, "Hey, there are many victims of these people who are following you, and I'm sure they respect your opinion. I do hope that you will say something about it, and to support of these victims." That kind. Dude, that would be fine. But I do think that most people are not as rational as that.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And I think like if anything, okay, the main thing that I feel without being too much of a tone police here, right, is that like in any conversation, be it in real life or on social media, hurling insults at another, right, is never something that works in a cause's favor.
Yeah.
And like there is a reason why, people don't take abuse well. And the fact that Nathan Hartono decided to still address his reason for reacting as such, right, is something that shows that this is a guy that puts a lot of thought to his action, right?
Yeah.
And like, I don't know where this misconception comes about that like staying silent means you support.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Holy shit.
Sometimes you are silent because you don't know what to say, or you are silent because you got nothing constructive to say.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is.
You know?
Like I'm very upset at the whole if you don't speak up, you're part of the problem. And I just don't agree with that. And if you don't agree with me and you think that it is a problem, I really implore you to comment down below and like tell me why you feel that way. And perhaps I'm not saying something maybe because I'm in a privileged position or something, or maybe I'm not a victim. That's why I cannot see these things. But if you have an opinion that is a different perspective from mine, I hope you leave it down in the comments below. I'm open to changing my opinion. But as of now, right, I don't like that there's a pressure to say things, and especially if you're a social media person, social media influencer. And here's my reason why. It's because I don't want a world, right, where people will address things for the sake of it, or address things for the sake of social pressure. Because here's the thing, I mean we haven't John and I haven't talked about the whole Black Lives Matter or racial issues in Singapore on this podcast yet, because we feel like we're not ready to. We don't have the right guests, we don't have the right information, or rather John maybe have, I don't have. So I don't feel comfortable talking about it, and I don't feel it's productive to talk about it at all. I might as well just don't say these sort of things. So why? And here's the thing, I don't want a place, right, where, and I'm sure you guys don't want also, where I end up talking about it just because you guys want me to, or just because the internet forces me to. It devalues the point of saying it. The whole point of you speaking out is because you feel strongly for something and you want the world to know and you want the world to be educated in that way. And shouldn't that come from your heart? Shouldn't that come from a genuine place? So I don't get the whole, if you don't speak up, you're part of the problem. I get maybe that's not what their point is. Maybe their point is maybe you should care more about these issues.
Yeah.
But then don't phrase it as that, because what you're doing here is I'm very sure, pressurizing a lot of people who do not want to be pressurized to talk about things they do not want to talk about. And that is 100% not the way to get people on your side or get people to see your side of the story.
That is quite true, because like I feel that an attitude / skill that is kind of lost to the people of the modern internet is the ability to silently disagree.
Yeah.
I think there is room for that in human behavior. Not everybody is able to put up as big a fight as you can.
Yeah.
So if some people choose to silently disagree, that's fine.
Yes.
Just like how you exercise your free will on the internet to express your opinion.
Yeah.
To be angry and target that anger towards someone who has done wrong. That's fine.
Yes.
Right? It's like how on the flip side, these people don't force you to keep quiet.
Yeah. Correct.
So you shouldn't be, in that sense, forcing people to say things that they might not be ready to say, that might be premature to them, or things that, I hate to say this, but things that they don't necessarily believe in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you considered that? What if it's something that they don't necessarily believe in? You know?
Then why, if they don't believe in it, then why do you want them to talk about it? If anything, it's going to dilute your message. It's going to dilute your cause with things that are not productive. So if let's say, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I'm going to get a lot of shit for it, but I'm not someone who's very privy into the whole environmental issues thing. It's just not for me. And I am not educated in that sense. And I have never really been, maybe apart from a few things here, that I'm trying to be a bit more environmentally friendly. But
yeah,
if you ask me to just me and John talk about environmental issues, we are going to come up with very, very surface level arguments that do not contribute to anything. It's to the point where we might as well don't say. That's why we are trying to get Tammy, Little Earth Girl, to talk about it. So these kind of things, I don't understand the need for you to want people to talk about things, especially when they don't feel very strongly for it. It's like, for example, for my mental health thing, right? I don't expect someone who is not into the cause to talk about mental health and to fight for my rights or fight for the rights of victims for mental health. It's not their fight, what? It's my fight. It's all the other people's fight. And if you believe in that cause, it's your fight as well. But to expect that everyone to agree with you and fight with you, right? I think that's not fair. And I think this also kind of links to the whole black and white thing. We want to put people in boxes. We want to put people in the black and white. You are good and you are bad. So if you don't do this, you're bad. If you do this, you're good. That's it. There's no room for nuance. What if someone doesn't believe in environmentalism, but you really do? And then he doesn't talk about it, but he believes in other things. Then is it a bad thing for not talking about environmentalism? And suddenly you realize that, like, hey, not so clear cut already. So how can you say if you don't speak up, you are part of the problem? I feel like this. Maybe I'm also victim of like, maybe social media, they are also not seeing the nuance in this sentence. Maybe I'm not seeing something. But at least from an outsider perspective, and this is not something that's a knee-jerk reaction. I've been thinking about this for damn long already, right? I still cannot see how this is productive in any way. And I do hope that if it is, right, and if you have a different opinion, tell me. So at least I'm a bit more educated lah.
This actually ties back to a topic that we talk about quite frequently, and that is the not so good side of cancel culture, because it encourages some of these very unhealthy behaviors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And like I think it drives a lot of impressionable young people to do things that are very knee-jerk or very unfounded. And like it makes them sort of like it will affect their identity a little bit, especially if they are not someone who actually believes in something but is actually pressured into saying something. And
Yeah.
like not
Yeah.
everyone has the maturity to handle an angry commenter the way Nathan did. And I think this is the darker side of social justice, unfortunately, that can get a little bit problematic in spite of the problem that they're trying to target.
Yeah, I unfortunately, right, whenever you do things like this, right, it really takes away from the cause. And I don't think it's productive at all. And there's a better way to do these things. And that's just my opinion. And I think this whole conversation also goes back to like the conversation that we had with Tammy the other day, like a few episodes ago, about whether influencers should do more. And I said something along the lines of like the fact that it's called do good means you're not expected to. I'm not comfortable with saying you're expected to do good. And it's also it ties in with this, because if you expect someone to do good, then is it good? You don't want people to do things because they are pressured to or they are expected to. You want it to be truly out of their heart. And you want to get to a point where it's damn easy to go like, I want to social pressure you to do things. And it's very tangible. You can probably see it very quickly. Like social media influencers are starting to talk about these issues. It's very tangible because they can see in their Insta stories. But the not tangible part is, are they feeling it? Is it something they truly identify with? Yeah. And these are things that are very important also. And like, I think the harder but correct route to go, right, is try to convince them as a person and appeal to their humanity as a person, right, to talk about it out of their goodness of their heart. And I think that's more important than pressuring them to talk about things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like in this particular incident, it's very cliche. For this particular aspect of it, right? It's very cliche, but action speaks louder than words.
Yeah.
If let's say the entire community rallied behind the victims,
yeah,
to try to rehabilitate them,
yeah,
and also rallied behind the perpetrator to see justice served, but pave the way to him being a better person.
yeah,
right? We could firstly, right, sped up this entire recovery and this recovery process by a whole lot.
yeah,
You know, but people are not interested in that. People are very clearly interested in condemnation. Okay, and secondly, right, we will be able to truly open this conversation up for future discussion. Can you imagine if the whole of society or the whole of the reaction of the internet is such that before they got angry, the first thing they did was to try to help these two parties? That would be amazing. That would be beyond amazing. That would be so good that a conversation doesn't even need to be a conversation, because people by default already take action in a way that helps the victims and helps the perpetrators. But that's the thing, you see. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but that's the thing. People don't want to help. People want to see people torn to shreds. People want to see justice served. People want to see punishment. People want to see a lynching. People want to see a dead body.
Yeah.
They don't want to save a life.
Okay. I do understand that maybe there are a lot of people who are, and I'm sure there are a lot of people who are trying to help these victims in a more tangible way. And here's what's really sad about this thing. The news is not gonna do that. Because the news now has a very conflict framing. They will frame things and they will run stories that are conflicts. Like the Nathan Hartono story. Like the story about someone paying to catch a predator host to condemn Chris Hansen, yeah, sure. But like all these things will be in the news. And all we see here, right, is all the conflicts and all the shit that wants to tear Kosh down. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be torn down. I'm not saying that he shouldn't be punished. I'm just saying that this is what's on the news now. And none of the good stuff are on the news. And that really, really depresses me. They're like, man, like I'm very sure they're good stuff. Then why did like no one talking about the good stuff? Or it makes people think that there's really no good stuff that's going on.
Yeah, it's like if you have the energy to, I don't know, to get into a scuffle with Nathan Hartono on the internet, why don't you channel that energy to share and discover resources for another potential victim of sexual harassment? What if there's someone out there in the dark who do not even know that resources are available and who do not even know that like there are people who are looking out for them, right?
Or don't even know that whatever they're going through is sexual harassment. There are people who just don't even know like that whatever they went through is, hey, not
So
right.
where's the having so much energy? It ought to be transferred to doing these things, right? Shouting at someone on the internet has never solved the problem.
Yeah.
It has never solved the problem.
Yeah, I don't want to like say. I mean, I think Pretty Please. She had her own B50 Kosh and like the whole saga that recently resurfaced again as well. But I do think that despite that, she actually did a podcast episode talking about sexual harassment, talking about how if you are a victim of sexual harassment, how you can seek help and everything. So I do think that's great. Like, actually helping the victims. And I think, yeah, we should stop trying to focus so much on Kosh, right? And making sure that he gets punished. And focus more on look at all these victims, let's help them now.
And I think that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And this is why I brought up the very depressing earlier sentence about how nobody actually wants to help anyone, nobody's interested in saving a life.
Yes.
And that's one of the harsh realities of the internet. People are not interested in being humanitarians, right? And that's why there are still people who harass the other talents and people around Kosh who did not come out as victims. They say like, oh, is it you exchange sexual favors with Kosh to get where you are? It's very clear, right? This is the maliciousness of the internet. But we don't have to be this way. It really doesn't. Yeah, it really doesn't have to be this way. We have the capacity. The whole point of the internet is now that the world is a more interconnected place. Instead of using this extra connection where you can directly shout at Nathan Hartono, right? Why not, shout for more people to help each other?
Yeah, I agree. And I'm not sure about any other cause, but let's say like for mental health, right? I mean, I've been very open about like what my captain said to me while I was going through my NS and everything, and I was very hurt. Do I want him to get stripped off his rank and like kicked out of the SCF? Hell no. Like that doesn't do me any good. That doesn't heal my trauma. That doesn't do anything for society. Like, what's the point? Like, I don't see the point in tearing someone else down. Like, what I want is not you guys. If let's say I release his name, or whatever, I don't want you guys to go and like harass him and like go ask him to apologize or anything along the lines of, or like ask the SAF to like kick him out or whatever. What I want is like, hey, help me if I'm going through shit. And now that I'm not going through shit, right? Help the people who are going through the same thing as me. And I feel like you don't have to tear someone down to help another one. You can just help that guy. I don't know, man. This is so depressing. But yeah,
it's depressing, but I think this is worth discussing also, lah. Because like honestly speaking, I think we've preached about this topic long enough.
Yeah.
And I think for those of you that have watched to this point, right, I believe you all get it.
Yeah.
So
you guys get it. Yeah.
I mean, if you all have any new perspectives, you can always bring it up to us. But I want to leave you all with a little bit of a thought, because this is one of those things that stay with me, right, when I think about these kind of topics.
Yeah.
And that is, we're all on the internet, right? So being on the internet, okay, being angry on the internet has never helped anyone. But being on the internet, being angry on the internet, has absolutely hurt people before.
Yes.
So I want you all to think. I want whoever is watching to think about this sentence, because the very easy reaction to see outrageous news is to be angry. But being angry on the internet has never helped anyone, but it has only hurt people. Okay? Yeah. Be it victims or people who rightly deserve justice.
Yeah.
It has never solved any problems.
Yes.
It has only hurt people. And I think this is one thing that people forget when they get upset about a certain thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being angry in a public space has never solved a problem. Channel that energy into something else instead. Think about it. If you do have that anger in you, if you're feeling outraged, if you're feeling offended about something,
Yes.
what if you channel the energy into something that actually has concrete results instead? You'll be surprised how much you can achieve when you're hyper motivated by something emotional like anger.
And I mean, this is a very good. I think we have preached long enough about this, and I don't know about John, but I'm obviously very emotional and not very rational at this point. But
I am also very tired of this discussion, but
so
one of the reasons why I feel we even brought this topic up, even though I don't know if it's obvious enough to you that it's quite an uncomfortable topic for us, is because I feel that there are still lessons to be learned here.
Yeah.
And as a bunch of podcasters that have built a community with y'all, even if we do not reach as far as some of the other celebrities out there, I want to encourage y'all to spread the right message and to have the healthier discussion. You know? Have the healthier discussion with everyone. And if we're able to encourage people to make the correct use of their energy to help the people who actually that need help and to be the bigger person to help even the bad guy become better, right? Then we will have truly achieved something in this society. And I encourage you to do that. You know? Instead of trying to seek justice on the internet, how about seek the victims out and give them something that can actually help them? They don't need your justice.
And
if they wanted your justice, they would have appreciated it if you gave them the justice before they became victims. They don't need your justice. Likewise for the perpetrators, for the criminals, for the people that you hate. They don't need your hate. They don't need you to tell them they're wrong. They need you to help them to become better people. And if we all decide to do that, the motivation for someone who is not necessarily in the know of how to always help people, he may discover new ways to help people. And a little good goes a long way.
And I fully recognize that John and I are very we are pretty similar in terms of thinking. So there might be some things that we miss out. There might be some things that we neglect to say. And if you don't agree with us, that's fine. Comment down below.
Please comment, man.
And
honestly, I feel that being too idealistic about certain things is not so good as well. So I think Alastair and I will share a rather moderate view on most things. People could definitely, criminals deserve punishment. But criminals are also people, and the person deserves rehabilitation. And that's the main message that we want to leave with you all.
So leave your comments down below if you have any opinions, or especially if you disagree with us. Let's have a conversation about this. And once again, if you are a victim of sexual harassment, sexual grooming, anything along those lines, even if it's not Kosh, it can be anyone. There are resources in the links down below. Go ahead.
Absolutely.
And seek the help you need. If you need someone to talk to, we might not be the best people, but we will try. And hopefully we can build a better society where this incident, first of all, doesn't even happen in the first place. And there's a more gracious society that we can live in.
I mean, the world with the pandemic is already shitty enough. Let's not make it shittier with our angry shit.
On a side note, wow, this year has been depressing as hell, man.
It has been depressing as shit, but you know what's not depressing? You know what? You can just go and follow us on Instagram.
Yes. Correct.
IMO.pod. Follow us on Instagram. We leave our updates there for HTHT and our IMO. Recently, we just did one with banking, in case you didn't know.
Please go.
You can just go to our channel and view what we have been talking about.
Yes, please.
You can follow us on Instagram also.
I don't talk that much, but you can. But yes. And with that.
This is the end of our very heavy topic episode today. Maybe for the next one, we'll talk about something that's a little bit more lighthearted, because the world is depressing as it is, and I believe there are cool things that we can share. Maybe we could talk about hobbies next episode. Who knows,
Who knows, man? Leave it in the comments down below. Any other topics you want us to talk about? Any guests you want to have on? We'll try our best to get them on. So yes. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Sarang hey everyone.
Sending out love to everyone. Hopefully you're fine.
Warm cockles for everyone.
Take care of yourself, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.